I get to experience that freedom every now and then, that space where I can just tell my inner self that it's okay, you can calm down. It's all part of the process, man. Every time I go to bat, I'm going to get better and better.
This is all I've ever known. Is that even
possible for me?
I don't want to miss anything.
I don't need that.
I don't want to acknowledge my pain.
I don't want to get poked with needles.
I don't want that.
There's nothing wrong.
I'm fine.
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 New Year's resolutions. No, I'm not asking you to start thinking about those already. Although 2024 will be here sooner than we think. New Year's resolutions are interesting because if you've ever made one, then you already know how hard and unlikely it is to change a behavior. In fact, 80% of New Year's resolutions will fail by February. And while many of us have heard the adage that it takes 3 weeks to build a habit, a 2009 study titled How Habits Are Formed concluded that most people need 66 days, with some as many as 254 days for a new behavior to become an automatic habit. In other words, change ain't easy, and is yet another reason that someone with hemophilia may be resistant or stuck in an I'm fine mindset when it comes to their care. Today, I have invited my friend, hemophilia caregiver, and clinical therapist, Debbie De La Riva, to speak with me about how behavior change, or a resistance to change, contributes to the I'm fine mindset. Hi, Debbie. Thanks for joining me. Let's start with your professional hat. Debbie, knowing that behavior change is so challenging, what are a couple of tips that you can share with people that may help them initiate or stick to a change?
This is my personal experience and this is my professional experience. What we try to do is jump straight into the behavioral aspect of, whatever we're trying to change. We want to do more of something good or less of something bad. And we inevitably, many times, aren't able to come through. And a lot of it has to do with we forgot a really big aspect of our body, which is our mind. And we forgot to look at the psychological aspects of ourselves, many of which are so hidden or unchallenged that, we're not even aware of them. You and I talk sometimes about, internal narratives. These are scripts in our minds that have been given to us many times by unhealthy people and many times by ourselves. But there's scripts such as, I've never finished anything I've started in the past, or I'm never going to be good enough, so why even try? And it's really, really important because if we don't become aware of them and challenge them, that's that mindset that's going to get in the way of anything you've tried to put down on paper or on your calendar. And a lot of them have to do with, like self-agency and even self-worth. Do I matter enough to take time out to do this positive thing for myself? So as you can imagine, that's from my background being a therapist, but those are my truths. A lot of things too, Patrick, I find that people forget two aspects when they're trying to do change, and that's compassion, self-compassion, and flexibility. We know that our inner critic can really take over when we're not consistently doing whatever we want to be doing. And just putting the flexibility in there too about, it's okay. Some days you're gonna knock it out of the park, and some days you're not gonna get out of bed. I think the last thing I want to talk about with this question is that there's this whole thing. It's called permissive thinking, and it's therapists put these really fancy names to these really simple concepts, but really it is about just giving yourself permission on a regular basis not to do that thing that's good for you, or not do that thing that's bad for you. And, left unchecked, that can really get in your way too. When you say something like, I'm going to have this ice cream at the end of the day because I've already blown it anyway. Those kind of things. I'm having a bad day, I deserve a break.
As a mom and caregiver to a now adult son with hemophilia, how did you personally experience the challenge of changing behaviors with respect to your son's hemophilia?
Well, again, another easy, that's a question that just goes straight to my heart, straight to my mind, because of my own personal experience. And I want to talk about it because I hope it's not just unique to me. It just from the very beginning and to the present day, it's always looking for that sweet spot about who is responsible for what change, especially as it comes to managing hemophilia. I'm still looking for that sweet spot between me wanting to control and have some kind of elusive control over things that are not always within my control with this, with the bleeding disorder, and giving my son his autonomy, his sense of empowerment. I don't know if I've told you the story before, but he would go to camp, he would learn to infuse, he would have that picture with the first stick, and then as soon as he came home, I'd start it all over again where I would take over the task. This went on for a couple of years. And that HTC nurse gave me a call and told me how frustrated she was with me. It took me a minute for my ego to come back and to process all of that, and then I realized, yeah, I really am making a big mistake, especially after she asked me if I was going to go on his honeymoon to infuse him. That message received.
Lastly, Debbie, is there a story of a particular behavior change from your life that helped you learn something worth sharing with others?
Yeah, and again, I always hope it's not unique to me, and it is something that I have to learn over and over again. And it's very simple. Whatever change I'm trying to make, it's the change itself that's important, not perfection. And that is such a hard thing to have stay in my mind on a consistent basis. I think maybe you could relate to about public speaking and doing what you do for all of us. The cost is this. Once we've given a presentation or done an amazing podcast, there just seems to be this space where there's this party, and I do mean party, of the inner critic just pointing out everything that I felt like I did wrong. And I get to experience that freedom every now and then, that space where I can just tell my inner self that it's okay, you can calm down, it's all part of the process, man. Every time I go to bat, I'm going to get better and better. So, anyway, that's my story, and I hope it helps people.
Well, Debbie, thanks as always for speaking with me, and I appreciate you contributing to the I'm Fine segment today.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, too. I believe in everything you're doing.
Hemophilia severity is determined by factor activity levels, a measurement of how much factor you have in your blood at time of diagnosis. The more factor you have in your body over time, the better your bleed protection is, which is why many people with hemophilia choose to treat prophylactically. Your doctor can perform measurements to evaluate the factor activity levels in your blood. Learn more about the importance of factor activity levels by talking to your doctor and visiting levelsmatter.com. Sanofi aims to raise the bar for patients living with hemophilia. Reimagine what's possible by visiting rareblood.disorders.com to hear more about Sanofi's dedication to the bleeding disorders community.
Setting goals is one excellent way to help yourself achieve change. And according to askwonder.com, writing down goals helps increase completion rates by over 40%. And having an accountability partner, well, that's going to increase success by 70%. So don't let fear, insecurity, or a lack of support or resources prevent you from making a change that enables you to break out of the I'm fine mindset. You deserve better than that. You deserve to get the best out of yourself. And if you'd like some more resources and support on that journey, check out mentalhealthmatters2.com for a list of resources. Thanks to Debbie De La Riva for joining me today, and thank you, Sanofi, for supporting this BloodStream segment. Subscribe to the BloodStream podcast wherever you listen, and we'll be back next time with another installment of I'm Fine.